Hi, my name is Chris Alexander, and I live in Magnolia, Texas, which is north of Houston. And last summer I had a group of men that got together, primarily a group of Christian men focused on what are some things that we can do to serve Christ better. And had a great series of meetings, and one of the conclusions that we came to during our last meeting in August last year was that we really wanted to do something again in 2013. So as we moved into the fall and I began to pray about what 2013 would hold, one of the things that the Lord really laid on my heart was the need that we have in the United States to share the gospel. And I go to Magnolia Bible Church, and our pastor Scott Wall had preached a sermon in 2012 and basically challenged the congregation to share the gospel and to find someone specifically within that month to begin to pray about was there an opportunity that we would have to sit down and share the gospel with them. So as we moved into 2013, it was pretty obvious that that was at least where the Lord was leading me. So got a group of 9 of us, 8 other men, and we formed a group called Believers Challenge. And our challenge to specifically men, but my hope is that it impacts lady Christians in the United States as well, is really challenge us all to begin to share the gospel and begin to pray that God would lay men and women on our hearts that we'll have the opportunity to share the gospel. As part of Believers Challenge, there's basically 3 phases. And the first phase involves what goes on in our life personally. So my challenge to you is for you to spend time with the Lord. I've got my Bible open here to 2 Chronicles 7:14, one of my favorite passages in the entire Bible. But what God is challenging us to do when we read that passage is to humble ourselves and to seek the Lord and to ask for His forgiveness. And obviously the end result is that God brings healing to the land. So that original passage was given to the people of Israel, but I believe that in the United States, as believers, if we do that, that God is certainly going to honor that. The second part of the challenge is for you at the individual level to ask that God would bring people to your mind and obviously eventually to your heart, people that He wants you to share the gospel with. And the very primary driver in Believers Challenge is for us to get back in the game and begin to share the gospel with people. So that's my second challenge to you. The third challenge is, from my perspective, it's relatively easy because we've done all the work in making a video. We put up a website called believerschallenge.com. My challenge to you, the third facet of this, is for you to forward this video to every Christian that you know. Because here's the power in this, and I'm an engineer, a mathematician of sorts, is if you were to take 100,000 American Christians, and I'm pretty confident we have at least that many here in the United States today, and we were all able to lead one person to Christ over a 10-year period, if each one of us did that, over a 10-year period, you would have over 51 million men and women who would come to know Christ. Now, I know you say that in many camps and people are saying that's an impossibility, but we serve a God with whom anything is possible. So I want to challenge you to do those 3 things. Once again, get before the Lord, pray that He would bring people to your heart and your mind, and then the third thing is to forward this video, because my goal is within a relatively short period of time that at least 100,000 men and women, American Christians, would have heard this. One of the concepts in Believers Challenge is getting back in the game. And obviously we're standing here in front of a golf course in a green where some gentlemen are playing golf this afternoon. But the idea for you and me as believers is getting back in the game. And I don't think anybody who's a believer who hasn't shared the gospel in a while, it was ever their intention to get out of the game, but it's so easy with the distractions of life. So as we challenge you and challenge ourselves with the Believers Challenge, we encourage you to get back in the game, get focused on the fundamental principles of sharing the gospel with a world that desperately needs it. And I'm convinced with every fiber in my being that if we're going to make an impact in this country, that we're going to do it by sharing the gospel. Obviously, the value in Believers Challenge is not the challenge itself, but it's what the challenge compels us to do. As you've watched this video, my hope and prayer is that you will have been challenged to pray that God would bring people in your lives to whom you can share the gospel. I realize that you're busy. We live very hectic lives these days, but I'm not sure there's anything more important for you and me as believers than sharing the gospel. So I encourage you to contact us. Go to our website, believerschallenge.com. Give us some feedback and let us know what God's doing in your life as we partner together in sharing the gospel to change lives not only across the United States but across the world to further His kingdom and carrying out the message of sharing the gospel with those who don't know Him.